Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing well. We're continuing our reading of Friedrich Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra book. We were in paragraph number 2. Let's continue. Here, Zarathustra fell silent for a while and looked lovingly at his disciples. Then he continued to speak thus, and the tone of his voice had changed. Remain faithful to the earth, my brothers, with the power of your virtue. Let your gift-giving love and your knowledge serve the meaning of the earth. Thus I beg and beseech you, do not let them fly away from earthly things and beat their wings against eternal walls. So here, what sticks out to me is remain faithful to the earth. What's going on here? Beat their wings against eternal walls. What you getting at, Nietzsche? Alas, there has always been so much virtue that has flown away, led back to the earth, virtue that flew away, as I do back to the body, back to life, that it may give the earth meaning, a human meaning. In 100 ways thus far have spirit as well as virtue flown away and made mistakes. Alas, all this delusion and all these mistakes still dwell in our body. They have there become body and will. So mistakes that they flown away from the earth, just connected. In 100 ways thus far, the spirit, not only the reason of millennia, but their madness too, breaks out in us. So lots of ignorance, error, mistakes dwelling in the body. It is dangerous to be in error. Still, we fight step by step with the giant accident, and over the whole of humanity there has ruled, so far, only nonsense, no sense. So he says here, it is dangerous to be in error, and then talks about all the mistakes still dwell in our body, and then highlights how you're supposed to remain faithful to the earth. Reminds me a lot of genetics, inherited sin, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree type of talk. Still, we fight step by step with the giant accident, and over the whole of humanity there has ruled so far only nonsense, no sense. Let your spirit and your virtue serve the sense of the earth, my brothers, and let the value of all things be posited newly by you. For that shall you be fighters, for that shall you be creators. With knowledge the body purifies itself, making experiments with knowledge. Now, I would definitely say that knowledge helps you to purify yourself, if you're at going for the right kind of knowledge, right? You are able to apply it, get rid of certain ignorance and superstitions, and heal yourself with, excellent eating. You learn good stuff. Sleep well, drink water, all that good. The knowledge of health, the knowledge of dignity, character building, those are all forms of knowledge that help you to become better. It elevates itself, and the lover of knowledge, all instincts become holy, and the elevated the soul becomes gay. Physician, help yourself. Thus you help your patient too. Let this be his best help, that he may behold with his eyes the man who heals himself. So, a man who heals himself, mentions the physician, and then talks about how knowledge purifies oneself. Now, a physician kind of does experiments in a way, tries to target the symptoms of something, figure out what's the deeper cause, They will do surgeries and invasive treatments and whatnot, therapeutic ones as well, to see what's going to work here. And they need knowledge. So, when he mentions the lover of knowledge, all instincts become holy, I think we can examine how, when we've had a gut instinct and it turned out to be true, but we ignored it, and you're like, ah. But then again, there's been times where our assumptions have blown back in our faces, and we've realized, like, hey, I shouldn't have been so brash and quick to think this. I should have been more slow and paused and reflected. So you can see it from multiple angles. But the healing of yourself through knowledge, purifying yourself essentially, is basically what he's getting at. Being so in love with knowledge itself that you'll be able to train yourself to have certain distinctions that will benefit you. There are 1,000 paths that have never yet been trodden, 1,000 healths and hidden isles of life. Even now, man and man's earth are unexhausted and undiscovered. That's interesting. Now, I would say as a Muslim, there's one path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is Tawheed. But I would also be able to break that apart and say that how the baker operates in their life, the horse trainer, the saddle maker, the car mechanic, the cook, the nanny, the school teacher, the neurosurgeon, all that good stuff, the veterinarian, they all have their little hidden paths of how they can be successful and do good in their fields. And they have still yet to discover a lot of research. But I wouldn't call it man's earth, even though we are able to operate in a different way on the earth. I would still call it, it's just our habitat in a way, because we share it with so many creatures who have different types of intelligence, and we are yet quite fragile. If you take away our technology and you put us back how we were, we begin to realize, that grizzly bear, that cobra, really got something going on, don't they? Once you start losing hospitals during wartime, you begin to see how vulnerable we are to disease, infections, wounds, the weather. It's pretty intense, So I still would refrain from calling it our Earth. It's our home for now, but it is a difficult habitat to dwell in. Not that he's saying it's easy, just that to think we've conquered it is a mistake. Wake and listen, you that are lonely. From the future comes winds with secret wing beats, and good tidings are proclaimed to delicate ears. You that are lonely today, you that are withdrawing, you shall one day be the people. Out of you who have chosen yourselves, there shall grow a chosen people, and out of them the overmen. So what I get from this is, if you are withdrawing, you are lonely. I think this sounds as somebody who is recluse. They're not a busybody, they're not the social butterfly, they're not up in the sauce, just really out there trying to be the alpha in every situation and going with the flow in certain circumstances, but they tread their own path, are comfortable with themselves. I would argue have a deep connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that wherever they go, they feel a connection to our Maker, and that frees them from the need of consistent validation from those around them and from the culture. Even though you're supposed to have a community, right? You're supposed to have your community, your tribe, whatever, but if you were to lose all of them and they all turn their back on you, and now all of a sudden you can't go on, I think you need to reform yourself. You gotta be able to become strong, and then through that you could become this type of overman he speaks of. You can crumble in your solitude and become a weirdo pervert staring at a screen, watching strangers do lewd things, and being angsty, resentful, spiteful, or you can excel and learn how to entertain yourself with your own thoughts and introspect on memories and things you could have done differently. And that'll make you more content with silence, with peace, with solitude. And you'll become stronger than somebody who is attached to the crowd. Very interesting. Verily the earth shall yet become a site of recovery. And even now a new fragrance surrounds it, bringing salvation and new hope. Alright, that was number 2. Oh. So the earth, as he remained talking to it, is for people to not truly fly away from everything material, but to make sure that the earth has a human meaning. And he argues that mistakes dwell on the body, and then mentions how it's dangerous to be an heir, so it sounds again like he's inheriting certain thought patterns and situations and bodily affiliations in terms of strength and medical disposition and how that affects you in the world, but that you can purify yourself through knowledge. So even if you made mistakes or you came from a mistake and didn't do so well, you can become more happy and elevated once your instincts become in tune to the way they should be, and that is through knowledge. Alright? And that you'll be a physician to yourself with spiritual healing and also maybe just literal healing, because you'll be able to not depend upon the physician as much or the crowd, but you'll be able to wake and listen to your own thoughts until they become really high-tuned instincts, to where your ears will become more delicate. You'll hear the good tidings. Even if you're withdrawing, you'll still grow, and through making good decisions and perfecting your decisions, you'll become this sort of overman. And the earth is a place of recovery if you use it right, I think is what he's getting at. And that the earth will have an effect on your spirit, but if you fly away from it, then you're going to have a more difficult time in having some type of new hope. Now, it's different the way he talks about the earthliness, right? He's not talking about hedonism and base desires, but seems to be getting at metaphors and yet literalism as well, which I find to be quite unique. His writing is packed full of lots of stuff here for us, and I think there are multiple interpretations to this text. Let me know what you think. This one was very unique, I must say. And if you'd like to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com/MilahanArchive. Hope to see you there.